This week, he went on record saying that Pierre Poilievre campaign needs to pivot if they want to win the election. Kory, thanks for your time. Let me begin by asking you about your reaction of what we heard from Pierre Poilievre just last hour. You know, important message nonetheless on drugs, human trafficking, etc. But in the crux of this phone call between Trump and Carney, do you think he missed out somewhere?
Yeah, I think it's outside the news cycle for sure. I don't want to diminish the importance of the topic that he's on, though. I think most Canadians would agree with the clip that you just played that people trafficking in fentanyl are doing something that is, maybe not akin to mass murder, but it's certainly involved in a business that's resulted in tens of thousands of deaths of Canadians. So, I don't want to find fault with somebody wanting to talk about that particular issue, but in the context of a campaign, look, the news today is about Trump and tariffs, and you really got to get in on that story. It's inconvenient when you're running a campaign to have to adjust your plans to changing circumstances. But I think, writ large, this election is going to be about Trump and tariffs. Like, that's what the electorate is overwhelmingly focused on. And when you're not winning that question, you're going to have a lot of trouble, which is what I think we're seeing right now.
Kory, I'm very curious. Well, of course, like we were saying, that it's important to highlight these issues as well. We can't diminish the importance of them. But why do you think this is the case where we're not seeing Pierre Poilievre address the issue of Trump and tariffs directly? He has on previous issues, but, he's catching up.
Yeah, well, I think it's because the Conservatives were winning by such a large margin prior to the Trump tariff issue. And I think it's tempting to want to go back in time to when you were winning. It's just Justin Trudeau is no longer on the ballot for the Liberals, and so that's changed the way a lot of people think about these things. And the second thing is that the threat of threats made to Canada's sovereignty by the U.S. president and the tariffs that are threatening our economy are what's driving economic anxiety and across the country at the moment. Previous to this, it was a carbon tax and high interest rates and things like that were driving economic anxiety. And you saw the Conservatives had a laser-like focus on those issues in the 2 years preceding, and the net result was that Canadians gravitated towards them. They were talking about the big issues that were on the minds of Canadians. Now, the issues that are big in the minds of Canadians are not those same issues, and you've got to adjust. And if you don't adjust, then you kind of end up in the similar position to what Trudeau was in, where you're trying to convince people on things that they're not that interested to talk about, and you're ignoring the big issues that are keeping them awake at night.
Briefly, if you could, Kory, how much time do you think they really have to pivot? Because this is a short campaign, a lot that's happening between the U.S. and Canada. How much further can they delay this, and what will it cost them?
Well, I think you saw some positive signs even last night in Poilievre's rally speech, where they were attempting to talk more in a different tone around the Trump stuff that I think was helpful. But message discipline is about what you choose not to talk about as much as what you choose to talk about. And so, we've had 2 big days of Trump tariffs driving the news. And the Conservative message events yesterday was about tax-free savings accounts, and today it's about fentanyl. So, what's with that?
Okay, we'll leave it at that for now, but appreciate your insights always. Kory Teneycke, Conservative strategist with Rubicon Strategy, was also Ontario Premier Doug Ford's campaign manager. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, Kory.
My pleasure.